Welcome back to Saturday Night Ladies. I am Deej Barons.
I'm Shari Vesco.
And I'm Debbie Constantine.
And we are your Saturday Night Ladies. And my sincerest apologies for this being a bit later than usual, because I'd like to get this up by Wednesday, but it seems bronchitis has hit my home pretty darn hard. So when you can't talk without coughing, we're going to have to delay things a little bit. We'll be back to our regular schedule after this week's episode. Try to get this up as fast as possible. We have not gone away. I did give Sherry and Demi full permission to go on by themselves, but they just want to have me there, so I appreciate that, lady.
Of course.
We're a threesome. It's 3 or nothing.
Threesome for life.
Fair enough. And all you dirty-minded men out there, shush. So we are here for the Finn Wolfhard A$AP Rocky episode, which I was rather excited about because Finn Wolfhard is from Vancouver. He has another SNL connection because he was Veggie Tozier in the Andy Muschietti version of It. In interviews, the kids were asked who would they want to play the adult themselves, and he immediately said Bill Hader. Next thing you know, Anthony Muschietti's talking to Bill's agent, and he gets the part. He's not only part of one franchise of young kids facing monsters, he's on 2 franchises of young kids going after monsters. I'm still doing some weird things to my voice for the moment, so this is why Sherry's going to take the lead on this, because it's that's kind of episode. Get your big dumb cup, put on your big dumb hat, and let's talk about Saturday Night Live.
All right, let's do it. It's episode 10 and season 51, and we have Mr. Finn Wolfhard and musical guest A$AP Rocky. I was also very excited about this episode because I am slightly obsessed with Stranger Things since it started in 2016. Wow. I did not realize it had been that long, but because of COVID and the Duffer Brothers being huge perfectionists, it took a long time to get each season out. I've been wanting one of the kids on, and I thought it was going to be Sadie or Millie Bobby Brown. So this was a bit of a surprise, but as Deej says, he has a lot of SNL connections. He was, of course, in the movie. He had a bit part as a page in the Saturday Night movie, and then the whole Hader connection. And I just think he's a huge fan. So I guess it's not such a big surprise that he was the first Stranger Things and hopefully not the last to host. Let's get started with the cold open. I'm going to let Demi kick it off. Do you want to give us your opinion on yet another? I'll let you have all the fun with this one.
So much fun. The Trump cold open, you mean? I will say this. I've just been like in a simmering rage for most of the day, like watching everything that's happening with ICE in Minneapolis and stuff. I'm just like beside myself, out of body, enraged. I need to rewatch this episode for the podcast. Came on. It makes him look so stupid, pretty much quoting almost verbatim, that I was laughing in spite of myself. So... And I did not expect that. I was like, maybe I should just skip it. I can't take this right now. I can't take listening to him talk, even as a joke. He's so stupid and so ridiculous and not really embellishing anything. And then Colin comes in his headset that he's such a frat boy. It's such a release because like, oh, thank God, someone else can see it too. Someone else knows, and millions of people are going to see this, that this is GD ridiculous. So in that respect, I very much enjoyed it, even though I know that's not a popular sentiment. It's kind of a release valve, which I guess maybe is the most charitable thing you can say. J&J, great job, great impression as always. Marcelo as Marco, great. And that's that on that.
Deej, how'd you feel about this cold open?
Better than most. There was Trump, but wasn't complete Trump. The at least helped. As much as I hate Pete Hegseth as a person, I love it that we got the Colin version of Hegseth because I love Colin doing this. And then putting in Ashley as Christy Gnome in that one section, which they like, are we going to do whatever? I would say, Gnome. Kind of an obvious joke, but still funny. Just enough Trump to get things started. And the whole thing with the Nobel Prize, which is another big ass joke. It's like... Oh, why do we have to suffer through this? I don't know why. I got my Colin Jost Hegseth fix, so that will always make me happy.
It was indeed another Trump cold open, the cabinet meeting, but we got a lot of cast in here, a lot of newbies. We had Judge, of course. We had Marcelo. We had Jeremy taking over J.D. Vance, doing a laudable job, I thought. Very nice job. And of course, Deej mentioned Christy Nome, Ashley, the fabulous Ashley, and I thought she nailed it. And, after we saw Tina do such a great job, to fill the shoes of Tina Fey is rough. And Ashley, as she continues to impress, just amazing. And of course, Colin as Pete Hegseth. So it was nice that at least they broke up the Trump, as Deej said. And I'm just going to leave it at that. Oh, we got to have our Bazinga. Hi, Bazinga. We always have to have our Bazinga appearance. And I think we can move along to the monologue. Again, I'm going to pass it off to Demi and let her get us started with this pretty, not a lot of cast appearances. This was very focused on the host.
Yeah, I've never watched Stranger Things. I'm aware of it. I know people are really into it. I'm loosely aware of the characters because I've hosted SNL and some of the mystery, some of it. So I'm kind of aware, but I don't know the ending or anything. So I thought this was a really cute, self-effacing monologue. I really like the zoom in on the chin, zoom in on my facial hair. I'm 23. I guess he started the show in 2016, so he would have been 13. So he truly went through puberty, I guess, on the show. So I'm very happy for Stranger Things fans that they got to see this. I really have never really seen him do anything before except in interviews with Bill Hader. So
tall, short hair.
Tall, gangly, long hair. Kind of look like a cross between if me and Andy Samberg had a kid.
It was cute, likable, but you're still like, is this guy a good performer or not? I don't know, but he's self-aware, and I like that.
Yeah, well, he very much has a Canadian sensibility to him. I'm just so proud that he's from my neck of the woods. Going through your entire life on screen, Bazinga, do not poke my boob. Seriously, do not poke my boob. I love my cat, but sometimes he can be a bit of a pain in the butt. It was nice having the two castmates there. Very charming young man. So, I think he has a really good future. And just in general for the episode, I thought he did really well.
I completely agree. And I was very happy to see Gatton and, is it Caleb? I believe it's Caleb. They're obviously a very tight-knit group. And it is nice to see. I mean, they grew up together. They were 13 years old and they grew up together. And now they're supporting each other. And that's what friends do. That's what we do for each other, right? I mean, it's really cool to see that. I enjoyed the monologue very much because I am a huge Stranger Things. I think of the three of us, I'm the big fangirl. I loved, the homage to the show and how we grew up on it. Like Demi said, the little close-up on the chin hairs. And it was all very sweet. And I like when SNL sort of gives you a picture of the host when they're sort of new and people don't really know them that well. I think there's a lot of people who don't know who he is, believe it or not. I know Stranger Things is huge, but it's also kind of culty. So I don't know that everybody knows who he is. So I thought this was a nice intro. Like Deej said, he's very, very much the Canadian charm, very self-deprecating, very not a big ego, which I always love when stars can put their ego aside to come on this show and just have a good time. So yeah, I thought the monologue got us off to a good start. So now we're going to jump into our first live sketch of the night. I know we were all fans of the first one. I'm going to let Demi get us started with the return of Snack Homies. What'd you think, Dem?
Holy cameos, first of all. I did not so it's Snack Homies, and it's a bunch of 13-year-olds sitting around, they have a podcast talking about snacks. And then I guess Finn Wolfhard was a dark red pill preteen. And then Sabrina Carpenter popped up out of nowhere. I don't know if you're going to do the exposition on this, sorry. I did not realize how to the letter they were imitating when Little Yachty came on the Snack Homies, whatever the real version is. It was a shot for shot. So when A$AP Rocky came on as a guest, it was a near perfect parody. People on Reddit were mad about this, but I think they're mad about it because it's them. Because to me, it's really funny. Because that's what all bro podcasts sound like to me. It's a bunch of brand new slang that you pretty much can understand what they're saying, but there's a little bit of nuance, but it's is this even going to be a phrase next week? Probably not. So it's all garbled jargon and slang that, for me, it was very funny.
It's a good sketch to get the ladies on because a lot of cartoon voices for young boys are done by women. This is like Nancy Cartwright's been doing Bart Simpson for God knows how long. I didn't quite understand Finn's character, but I kind of got where they were going. But he was charming. I think I see a future double duty host in A$AP Rocky. He did a really good job in the sketch. His timing was great. Chemistry was good. Sabrina was a nice surprise. The only one whose voice I'm not terribly fond of is Chloe's, because she's a little bit too high. Jane is always my favorite in this, because Unc does not want to Unc, but Unc has to Unc, and Unc gets dumped on quite a bit.
Oh my God.
But it's all in the name of fun. So for me, this is a good showcase for Jane.
I totally agree. A lot of people do not like this sketch at all. But I enjoy it. Demi, thank you for the little bonus. I love that you guys bring tidbits with you. Because I knew it was a real thing online. And the kids seem to be cool with the parody. They don't seem insulted or anything. I mean, they're kids. Kids have a better sense of humor about this stuff. But that's cool. They had Lil Yachty on, so this was like a shot for shot on that. Obviously, SNL does their homework, so got to give them credit for that. I agree with Deej also. This is an amazing showcase for the ladies. And I also like Jane the best, and it's a great vehicle for her. She always is the dum-dum one in many sketches, but this fits perfectly, and she's just got that awkward charm to her that fits in here perfectly. I agree that A$AP Rocky, and apparently those rap snacks are a real thing. Who knew? So that was fun, and I thought Finn did a laudable job. I didn't really get it either. Deej, something about facial structure, and I didn't understand it either, but it's probably a real thing. I just don't keep up with the online world as much.
If I could just add, that is a real thing. Someone posted like a 20-minute video in the SNL subreddit, like, here's the explanation. It's like, I'm not watching that. So apparently there's deep meaning to it that somebody has decided to make a video about.
Yeah, like I said, SNL does their homework. They know what's going on online. They're trying to keep up and attract more young viewers, because SNL has become an old person show. I think it's getting less that way, but that's and they're trying to win the kids back. And I think they are. I think things like this are getting the kids back. So I enjoyed this. I thought it was a lot of fun. It was great to see A$AP there, and I thought he did a great job. Finn did a great job. And of course, wonderful to see Sabrina. And she's another one who gets the like teen boy thing, probably because some of her biggest fans are teen boys. So she gets it, and she's very clever in the role. I just think they all do a great job. Veronica's great in here. Everybody's great. Let's just quickly run through it. Sabrina, Chloe, Finn, A$AP, Jane, Veronica. So yeah, really gives the ladies a chance to shine. I admit Chloe's my least favorite too. She's almost trying too hard.
There's no shade on Chloe herself. We are not Chloe Feynman haters here.
No, not at all. I think she doesn't get the teen boy thing quite as well as like Sabrina or Veronica, or especially Jane, who I think must have a teenage brother because she nails it so perfectly. But yeah, a good time. And speaking of teenage boys or over 18 boys, let's glide on into the pre-tape. I'm going to let Demi, she's getting excited. I'm just going to hand it on over, and I'll do the cast and all that at the end. So take it away, Demi.
Oh my God, I was screaming at this. Oh. So it's like a take on, they mashed up gay fan fiction is a whole subgenre written by girls who wear tails. It's a real thing, like any band I've been into, like 21 Pilots, any archetypal show. If you go on Facebook, there'll be like a whole subsection, or there was like, 5 years ago, of all these like Magna versions, and there's all this gay erotica that young girls seem to really like. I don't get it. I'm like, I am very much, that's not canon. I'm like, I'm not even going to get into it because I'm in my 40s and I'm like, I'm good. But this is a takeoff on that. And it was, I mean, before anything, it was supposed to be a takeoff of Harry Potter and Heated Rivalry, like Heated Wizardry, I think it was called. And just the production value for this short, like even if the references were going over your head or you didn't like it, the production value, the editing, the overlaying of two storylines while also winking at people that do fan fiction. Ron Weasley, like played by Ben, and Finn is Harry Potter. They were chef's kiss perfect and doing this like sexual tension dance. I haven't seen Heated Rivalry, but I've seen a lot of interviews about it. I know the gist. My sister said it's a brilliant show. It's inspiring a lot of people to come out. It's pretty cool. But to make this like a gay lust story with Ron Weasley and Harry Potter, it was so funny. It was so self-aware, but such fan service simultaneously. Like, I'm a demographic, but there was I think it was a video game that had Hagrid saying, "You're a wizard, Harry, you're a wizard." Like, and that was like a meme that people would use. So to first of all have a completely gratuitous cameo by Jason Momoa, which is, I secretly love super drawn out cameos from a really big star in a really tiny role. I know people don't like them, but they make me so happy when they have like one line and like clearly some effort put into their costume. And he turns around as Hagrid and he's like, "You're a homo, Harry." And like the crowd, Reddit lost its mind, by the way. Reddit was on fire. They could not believe this is real. They're like, oh my God, is this happening? Because it was like speaking to, I'm guessing, people in their late 20s, early 30s. I don't know what's going on with that stuff anymore. But the appreciation from Reddit and the audience, I think, was like so happy. They were confused, like, oh my God, are they really giving us a soundbite? It was just absolutely unbelievable. And just the Quidditch and the broomsticks and the phallic motion of it all, it was just so delicious, so well executed. It might be my favorite for the night. I could not believe what I was watching. And that's my favorite kind of SNL. So thumbs up for me.
There was unbelievable chemistry between Ben and Finn. It was just, and I know Sherry's going to have a lot to say about this one because she's a Ben girl. She's a Ben lady, and he looked very hot in this. Now, technically, you would think that rivalry was between Harry and Malfoy. But when you got a nice big redhead there, you're not going to waste it on that. I never knew I never need a hot Hagrid, you know? I like hot Hagrid. The other thing I like about this is J.K. Rowling probably hated this. And I hope she did because I have no use for her anymore. And the production value and all the flying shots, especially one where it's blurred out, with McGonagall putting that in her spank bank. Chemistry between Ben and Finn was just on fire.
All right, Deej, this is a Canadian show, right? This Heated Rivalry is Canadian, right? I heard it was off a Canadian network and then it got on a American.
Well, it's on Crave. It's a digital service where it carries a lot of HBO stars and it is Canadian. It's based on a series of novellas. Yeah, so it was created for Crave, and I guess since Crave shows a lot of HBO shows, that HBO
got a hold of it.
For their network, because that's how I get a lot of my HBO content. Even though it's a bit of an expensive service, I have the commercial one with all the commercials on it, but there's a lot of good stuff on Crave if you're in Canada.
Okay, well, just to give our listeners a little bit, and I learned this, thank you SNL nerds, I give credit where credit is due. I didn't know anything about this Heated Rivalry show. I don't have I have no HBO. And so I didn't know. Apparently it's hockey players and homosexual guy, gay, I don't know. You guys get the gist. Romance, kind of good. I'm not usually into romance, but I think the concept is sort of unusual because sports are so like that nobody's coming out, especially hockey is very much. I don't think there's a lot of hockey players who have come out. They're probably out there, but you don't hear about them a lot. So I credit this show a lot. It's such a perfect marriage because, with Quidditch and everything, they could totally liken that to a hockey atmosphere and the whole bro atmosphere at Hogwarts. The boys are all in a boys' dorm or whatever. So they keep the boys and the girls kind of separate. So that was a perfect marriage. I'm a children's librarian, as you all probably know if you've listened to an episode before. I am so Harry Pottered out. Like, I've been dealing with Harry Potter since it came out, and the kids still want to read it over and over again. So I love it when it gets made fun of. I thought this was an absolute hilarious showcase for so many. Finn, and I love my Ben. Could anybody else have played Ron Weasley? He was perfect. I think even Rupert Grint, who I love too, I'm sure he's talked about it because I'm sure people have asked him how he felt about it. I'm sure Rupert's got a great sense of humor. I bet you he gave Ben his total props because he just nailed it. In more ways than one, he nailed it. So Finn and Ben, and then Ashley, Chloe, Keenan, Tommy, Jeremy, and of course, Jason Momoa. So a lot of our rookies in here. Everybody seemed to be having a great time. As Demi pointed out, the production values. My husband and I were talking about it. They're getting a big budget for these. They're looking like movie trailers now. I mean, they're just beautiful. We had the Mario Kart one a couple of years ago that was so gorgeous. And this was equally beautiful. And the Quidditch scenes where they're sharing the broom. I mean, perfect. So yes, this was a home run, a lot of fun. And just showed you major props to the film crews that do these pre-tapes. They don't mess around. They give 100% in a very short timeline. So let's fly off of that pre-tape onto our next live sketch. And again, I'm going to toss the ball to Demi, but I will tell everybody that this one, fittingly enough, is boy band.
It's kind of a familiar, the son doesn't want to go into his dad's line of work, except in this sketch, the dad's line of work is a pop star and a puffer vest, orange sunglass wearing pop star with choreography. Finn plays the son who wants to join an indie band. I think people are like, oh, South Park already did with finger banging. It's like, yeah, okay. It's a take on Varsity Blues / it's an age-old trope. No one owns this idea. It goes into this whole contrast. James Austin Johnson is doing choreo, and I think one of my favorite lines for best time in his life was the 18 months leading up to 9/11, because that was halcyon days for people of a certain age. That was probably the best period of time that we had. So I really did like that, and boy bands were huge then. But my favorite subplot of this, all the people coming in and out that were complimenting Ashley Padilla, the mom. What you got going on there? It's out of control. I love it when SNL does a really subversive subplot and they never explain it. It's clear that they've all know from experience that the mom is hot. Compliments are so over the top, and that was the funniest part of the bit for me. I thought that was so great. I do also think this was advertisement for the Pixies, whatever. I love that band, but I blame myself for introducing you to the Pixies, and then Finn's like, Pixies, mom, it's not the Pixies. And then Pixies went on Smartless to promote a tour, so I don't know what's going on, but people are talking about Pixies. I really liked it. I thought James Austin Johnson did a great job as the dad, playing against type. I thought Finn Wolfhard did a great job as the misanthrope kid who wants to go off and be Bob Dylan. Very enjoyable. But again, the subplot with everyone complimenting the mom, even Jane, and the mom's so graciously accepting of the compliment, even if it's just for me. Good premise, but the subplot, it was a subplot for me.
What this reminded me of, and this is going way, way back when I started watching SNL, when Gary Kroeger was a cast member. Howard Hesseman was the host, and they did a sketch of Gary Kroeger coming out to his father as straight.
Wow.
Yeah, so very kind of similar concept in this case, coming out as a indie rock band. I love James in this. He's been getting so much more outside of the Trump zone, which I know is necessary for current political commentary. And there's also the talk about who's going to fill the Bowen vacuum. Dad has a good shot at that because we know he can sing, we know he can dance. There's one part with the bangs when he's doing a conk thing. He just has so many talents that people need to see more of, and I'm glad we're getting him out of that zone. Pretty sure the whole thing with the complimenting the mom and is pretty much universally loved. This was a good episode for Jane. I'm so proud of our Jane. She makes the perfect mom, and her reaction is like, no! There was very few things to not like about this. Another thing it reminded me of, it was a show that was filmed in Vancouver for MTV years ago called Together, and it was about a boy band. And this very much had Together vibes, because they had featured Kevin Farley, who is a brother of Chris Farley, as the older guy in the boy band. So they had that trope in whatever this boy band was called. So they kind of carried on with that nice little tradition. Just a quick aside, look this up. The song is called The Hardest Part of Breaking Up, parentheses, is Getting Back Your Stuff. Banger of a song. This was a great showcase for Jed, great stuff for Jane, and Ashley's always a delight.
You two said it so well. I'm just going to run through the cast list again. It's Jadge, of course, and Finn, and Ben, and Sarah, and Jane, and Ashley, and Marcelo, and Andrew, and Jeremy. We get a lot of folks in there because we get the boys in the boy band, and then we get the disaffected college kids that are in the indie band, and that would be Sarah, Ben, and I believe Jane. That's where she is. Everybody's on point. As Deej says, Jane doesn't have a huge bit, but when she's on, she's on. Same with Sarah. Sarah only has a couple lines too. Sarah's not in this episode a lot, which surprised me. But that's okay. You know what? It's good that they're spreading the love around. And when Sarah's on, she's always memorable. And I agree that this, as I said, was a good showcase for Jane. This was a lot of fun. I remember the boy band days. Oh, heck, they're not gone. They'll never be gone. We'll always have boy bands. We'll always have girl bands. It's just a thing. So a lot of fun. And I think it was a fun night. And the fun keeps going into the next pre-tape, which is the Stranger Things promo. I know Demi isn't a Stranger Things fan, so I'm curious, since I am the Stranger Things fan, I'm curious to hear what somebody who might not get all the jokes thought of this, because it was definitely a Stranger Things Latin piece.
Well, sorry, I can't wait to hear your detail about it, because I really like it when SNL does multi-layered comedy, which I think probably is most of the time. Because me never having seen Stranger Things, I have seen Sex and the City. I have seen the other shows that they were parodying as the future kids growing up and doing other things. And the Sex and the City parody of Finn Wolfhard's character becoming a writer in New York and doing all of Sarah Jessica Parker's mannerisms, and they all meet up for Cosmos. Probably watched it like 3 times. It's so funny that I don't really know the characters that well, but they do such a good job with the shorthand. This guy was the brainy guy. This girl, she was probably reporting on stuff or was investigating. Now she's a newspaper reporter. And then I forget what the other guy was doing. There was one who went to go be Sarah Jessica Parker, Finn's character. One guy was still coming out. It seemed really funny to me on the surface, so I'm hoping that was funny. That rang true for Stranger Things fans. I forget what the first one was. Everyone's getting a show. Pretty much it's going to be sequels, prequels, and equals. Mike's dad. I don't know who that is. Oops, all Mike's dad. That's funny to me. I'm sure it would have been a lot funnier if I knew the show, but that was a funny concept to me. It was all the shows were funny. The fact that there was just massive spinoffs and these franchises are just monsters that are just eating everything in its path and like exploiting every little angle and loophole into a full-fledged story arc. That's funny in itself. I was very pleased, looking forward to hear Stranger Things fans have to say.
I am not a Stranger Things fan. I don't have anything against it. I tried to watch it. It just wasn't for me. When they do a parody of stuff, that stuff I love. They did the same thing a few years ago when Game of Thrones ended. They did it was a new HBO show of all the different Game of Thrones spin-offs, including one that was a take on Wild and Out. And as a Sex and the City fan, totally loved that whole scene. That was my definite favorite bit, especially at the end. It was like, your nose just bleeding, Jared James House. Oh no, that's from cocaine. Perfect line. Perfect delivery, a little bit of Dayton singing because he has a spectacular Broadway career. Just for the Sex and the City thing alone, I rather enjoyed this.
I think this was my sketch of the night. I'm just a huge fan. So this had so much fan service. It had so many inside jokes. The oops, Mike's dad, just to let you all in, for those of you who aren't into Stranger Things besides my cohorts, Mike's dad is Finn Wolfhard's character, Mike. His dad. who has not a lot of personality or a lot of backstory in the show. So that's what this is paying homage to, saying, let's give him a show so we can watch him watch TV, which is what he's doing in Stranger Things most of the time. He's sort of detached from everything. And then at the beginning, it's Steve, who is a main character in Stranger Things. He's kind of the cool guy who then ends up getting sucked in and becomes quite good friends with Dustin, who's got Gatton, I'm not sure. You'd think I would know after all these years, but I've heard both ways. They have a really strong friendship, and Steve very much has a coach-like, a teacher-like personality. So the very first spinoff is Strangerous Minds, which is a take on Dangerous Minds, a very old movie that I doubt any Gen Zs remember. But that was the play on that, is this teacher who's going to turn this group of ragtag kids upside down. You two talked enough about the Sex and the City parody, so I don't need to go into that too much. I'm also a fan of that. And I love seeing the guys, again, supporting their friend and looking like they're having a fabulous time. So this was just so much fun for us Stranger Things fans. And I think a lot of people who aren't into SNL but love Stranger Things were watching. This kind of thing is going to get them to come back. Even if they were just watching a sketch here, sketch there online, I think this is definitely the thing that's going to, maybe non-fans of the show, all it takes is an entry sketch, that entry drug, right, to get you into the show. This was a goodie. To our musical performance, and we'll talk about both, A$AP Rocky and the two songs, well, actually 4 total, I believe. He did Punk Rocky, that was his first, and then his second performance was a medley of 3 songs, Don't Be Dumb, Trip Baby, and Helicopter. I'm going to let Demi start us off with her feelings on what I felt were some interesting performances tonight by a really talented artist.
I absolutely loved it. I grew up listening to punk rock. I've been in many mosh pits. It's like an identity. It's like a way of life. So for hip hop and punk to like me, you would think it would be much more natural, but it's like very almost jarring. It's like there's a lot of gatekeeping in punk. You're like, oh my God. But and I can't get the song out of my head, but the way that he stylized, first of all, SNL musical guest, when they have a bunch of people on stage, I just marvel at it because it's such a small area and they're putting on like a show pretty much. I mean, it's kind of rare, but I really love it when there's actually people, not set designs, that they have to choreograph around. And so they had a mosh pit in the back that slowly morphed into more violent dancing. Like there was violence going on, there was duress, and the way that transitioned, it was it actually took my breath away. I actually couldn't believe how well that was done. How moshing turned into real life battling and struggling, and with a real antagonist that came on and started like pushing people down and stuff, and a really powerful performance. I was so impressed by how much they nailed punk culture and how important the mosh pit is, and how it's not necessarily, it's supposed to be like a safe place to let off some aggression, listen to your favorite music, not a violent place, but the mentality of punk is against violence, like being on the lookout for, government violence, state violence, whatever, all kinds of oppression. So I was just so impressed by how the genres came together and how they melded and came up with something totally original while being absolutely true to punk roots. And I was really blown away. It's probably going to be one of the very few that I screen record because I can't count on that staying up. And I think I want to keep it. It was just really great.
I don't have much to say about about A$AP Rocky. I mean, the staging was neat, the performances were neat. It's not necessarily my type of music. A$AP Rocky is a very charismatic performer. A lot of the stuff that they did with staging was really great. As I mentioned through the Snack Homies, I'd be curious to see how he'd do with a double duty episode.
Yeah, I agree. I thought both performances were excellently staged. I think he's obviously making a point and a social message. I liked your punk rock. That was an interesting take. I mean, I saw it as a very pointed look at what's going on in Minnesota, where the Caucasian guy just comes in with his muscle. But you're with the punk rock and the mosh pit, and I've been in a mosh pit, believe it or not. I've been in a couple.
I need to hear about this.
I can totally believe that, sorry. 100%.
A librarian's gone wild.
Totally accept that as truth.
Punk is a movement. It's never been my thing, but I respect it. And it's an interesting juxtaposition with what's going on right now in places like Minnesota, that violence and that hatred that's out there. And that's what punk is not about. That punk is about spreading the word about being fair and being peaceful. So I really like what A$AP Rocky does. I've liked him since he first came on the scene. I am the hip hop girly in this trio as well. I think he's an excellent lyricist. Flow isn't as fast as we've gotten from some other artists this year, but he's just as good. And lyrically, he's quite genius. And I really like when they do medleys and you get a sampler platter of their songs. So that was kind of cool for his second performance. So yeah, I think this was one of the stronger musical guests. I think all the musical guests have been really good this year. I've learned a lot about performers that I didn't know. So yeah, it's been a treat getting introduced. A woman of a certain age, yes, but that doesn't mean I can't. And Deej too. We are very open to all kinds of music, the new, the old, and everything. And I'm glad SNL is doing things like, A$AP Rocky, but he's not that new. And then, going back to Cher. I mean, we're getting everything. We're getting all the decades. So I'm loving that. And speaking of all the decades, it's Michael Che and Colin Jost, who've been around over a decade. And we're going into Weekend Update. And I'm going to let Demi start us off with her thoughts on what I thought was a pretty strong Weekend Update.
It was. I rewatched it just now, and I'm like, I can't think of any zingers. But I know there were. Colin's getting real feisty with his zingers. But Michael Che made a joke because, USA Today, New York Post, a lot of papers, they write about SNL that night, or if not the next morning. It's pretty standard. And I actually cannot believe that nobody made a bigger deal out of the joke Michael Che made about Trump, about the near assassination. I think Trump was like, I can't believe I'm still alive or something. And Michael Che was like, I can, a stiff breeze. I'm like, what? Oh my God. Referring to the near assassination in Butler, Pennsylvania. And I was like, oh my God. I didn't remember hearing it, but that's a way dark joke. Cam came out and did a feature, did a correspondent piece, which I very much liked. I very much, whenever he says anything, I'm like, what's he gonna say? What's this kid's deal? I want to hear what he has to say. And it was a good impression. It was funny. I think it was pretty niche. I think it was a deeper reference to it, but and then Jane Wickline coming out as Tamara. I'm not super hot on correspondence as a rule. I'm just not. She did such a good job. And I guess that's a real reference on TikTok. There was a girl that made a post, I want to wear buttons for every day. And everyone's like, well, what are the buttons for? Well, I'm afraid of the past. It was almost the verbatim lines from Jane Wickline. I'm very pleased. It's the 90s, right?
I didn't know the reference for Cam's bit, but he performed it very well, starting that he hasn't been getting a lot of screen time. So good on him. I'm not sure how much you want to take his comments on SNL, on a stand-up set that he did. Jane, I think, is inherently awkward, but this is a different kind of awkward. Person has this idea of what she's trying to do, trying to make it sound important, but she doesn't really know what it's supposed to be about. She was kind of low-key flirting with Che, I think. Jane was absolutely lovely in this. I'm really glad she's getting more stuff on. And listening to the SNL By the Numbers this week on SNN, that she had one of the highest screen times of the episode. So, yeah, I'd like to see more characters from Jane at the update desk. You get a nice branch out from the couple you don't believe are together, and I almost wish they would hope they do a number of checkups throughout the season on how Tamara's button thing is going.
Sorry about that. My mute was not cooperating with me. All right. Yes, again, we always, the three of us, I think we really do share a brain because our opinions, we don't plan this, folks. We all are sort of on the same page. I echo the sentiments. I don't know anything about sports. Apparently this Michael Irvine is a sports figure from the past that's doing commentary. I don't know anything. But I think Cam did a nice job. He was commenting on some football game that happened. It's a college football game that was going to happen. Again, don't do sports. Don't do college football. I am from Michigan. It is a huge college football town. I have friends who have tickets to the University of Michigan football games. They're huge. One of my best friends is a Michigan alumnus, and They're nuts for their football. She understands it all. I don't understand any of it. But anyways, Cam does a very funny job. I wish I could compare him. I need to look this Michael Irvine guy up and see how good the impression was. But I feel like he did his homework. Like Deej says, he has some thoughts and feelings about the show that I don't quite get, but that's his prerogative. What he's doing on the show, I'm happy with. I don't know if he's going to be back next season, but I'm happy to see him. He did a good job as Tyson, and he did a good job here. But you know what we're all talking about? Yes, I love Jane. I don't know anything about TikTok either, but this Tamara person, she's just another example of the things that go on online and what can make people famous overnight. And Jane just gets that awkwardness so perfectly. And this is a different type of awkward. I agree with Deej. It's a different type of awkward. And she does beautifully. I hope they keep giving her more to do. I'm thrilled that she had I haven't watched the By the Numbers yet, but I definitely want to because I'm thrilled to hear she's getting more screen time, and she had a lot this episode too.
It was 4 minutes and 10 seconds of screen time.
Ooh, that is very good for Jane. A shining star. She deserves a chance to break out, as we talked about in our report card. So I was happy here. As far as Che and Jost, Colin and Michael, they're Colin and Michael. They're funny. They're funny all the time. I know people have feelings about them and think it's time for them to go. They're so funny. When they go, they go.
The one joke I really did like from Colin was the thing about not using the Staten Island ferry as a bathroom. Now, I don't know if he was specifically referring to that he and Pete own, and he is from Staten Island, so that's like a really fun connection for him. And I think there was one with the Nobel Peace Prize with Michael Chase. It was like going to someone's house and saying, pick anything you want, and you bang as a wife.
I agree that... I am happy to see more correspondence on Che's side of the desk too. So all in all, I think we all agreed a pretty strong weekend update, and we're ready to swing in to the next live sketch. We've only got a few more left, and this one was Space Emperor. Sci-fi shows are hot right now, and dark sci-fi shows are really hot right now. For example, Stranger Things, but that's just one of many. Euphoria, I know, was big, kind of a dark sci-fi show. No, not sci-fi? Okay.
No, not in the least.
That shows you what I know. I know nothing.
Sorry.
Okay, so Euphoria, definitely not sci-fi. Sorry, everybody. I do not know anything about. So help me out. There's a bunch of dark science fiction shows, and none of them are coming to my mind except Stranger Things.
Dune.
Definitely compare this to is Dune.
Dune is another good example, yes. So yeah, lots of dark science fiction in the horizon. That's what this Space Emperor is about. So I will let Demi take it from there.
The best thing about this was Mikey Day was trying so hard to get Finn Wolfhard to break, stretching everything out, feeding him until he couldn't, like, my lord, like feeding him treats, delicious treats. There was a scene, the center stage quickly shifted to Mikey Day as like some kind of liege or manservant that included everyone's costume, everyone's hair, phenomenal. Banger, 10 of 10, unbelievable set design, unbelievable production value, costumes and the setting, the Will Ferrell in Zoolander haircut on Mikey Day. Everything was delectable. Everything was great. Almost as great as the treats that Mikey Day kept trying to force feed into the Emperor, played by Finn Wolfhard. I could not believe what he was doing. He was like a jawbreaker-sized candy pushing into his mouth. And I was like, how much of this is on script? Because that is gigantic. Finn Wolfhard, to his credit, was a complete champ and was able to chew everything and get it down and get his lines out. He had to pause a couple times, but he did not try to talk with his mouth full, which I think is the mark of an absolute pro. He gave himself a beat and a half to get that food down his throat. I don't know how he did it, and Mikey Day kept feeding him. The Emperor was like, this is too big. I don't want. I'm like, I will go kill myself. Now, like, no, enough with the sweets. It was just delicious, and just the live performance of it all. I was riveted. I was like, oh my God, is Finn Wolfhard going to throw up? Is he going to choke? What's going to happen? This is high suspense. I really enjoyed it for that aspect. This is why we watch SNL and why SNL is like nothing else.
I believe the reference was to Various Delights. This was one of my favorites of the night. Finn came close, but he did not break. Just the interplay between him and Mikey. This did remind me of was, bring this name out there, but the Russell Brand episode, the sketch was the Royal Taster. Bill Hader as a chef who's very angry at the king. And then one part where the nose to nose, Bill starts pecking at him, trying to get him to laugh. Very similar vibe. The pouring of the chocolate sauce was hilarious. And it's the one of those sections where it says, after, I think it was after the experience with the really big piece of whatever it was, it's like, okay, enough delights. Let's put a hold on delight. Don't get me wrong, I'm very pro delight. And then you have the little tropes of the entourage. You got the floor girl, you got the fan guy. I love it when you can see the people in the sketch are having such a good time. Very similar to the Californians in some ways. I have watched this a few times, and I gotta say, Finn in that outfit and that hair, oh my God, I know he's too young for me, but damn.
I agree. I like the hair too. The hair and makeup and costumes, as Demi said, just spot on here. And this was a great showcase for our host, for Finn, as everybody was saying, and Mikey also killing it in the wig. And then Ben and Chloe and Veronica all getting their props here. Even though Veronica only gets a minute or two as the floor girl, she gets some really funny lines out. So this was a fun, funny romp. Definitely taking aim at all these space dramas. This was a lot of fun. I think you two said it all. I don't need to say too much more on that. I think we're ready for the next one. Speaking of a showcase for Veronica, here's where Veronica got to shine. It's a guy's girl.
Yeah, this one was like a little painful for me to watch. Being in the military surrounded by guys, you either are that girl or you watch that girl who is trying so hard to blend in with the guys, but they think that being a guy means being a 12-year-old jerk, constantly dunking on people. And besides all that, Veronica owned this scene. This must be a character that she's like worked on or workshopped at least, because football Sunday, Finn Wolfhard, and she plays his girlfriend. They're having a guys' weekend. They're like, no, this is boys' night. He's like, oh, my girlfriend's really cool. She's one of the guys. I swear it'll be fine. And then Veronica shows up in like football jersey and jeans and like just starts immediately like dunking on everyone and making fun of people, like inappropriately, might I add, trying so hard to be like a guy that she's just a jerk. I don't remember any of the lines. I think at one point Ben says that he broke off his engagement with a girl and there's like a moment of like tenderness, like, oh man, what happened? And then Veronica shows up like, well, it sounds like he was like a bitch, and like shotguns a beer right next to him. It's so funny just thinking about it. Being a guy does not mean you have to be like just a total a-hole. Like, I think that was even a funnier commentary in my older years. I'm like, oh, that's not what a guy is. I enjoyed how much she went for it and how much the character was well-rounded. And then she leaves to go to the bathroom. She's going to drop a spank in the tank, which doesn't even make sense. Like, I don't know who says that. That's not even something people say. Well, do people say that? I don't think. And then they're all like, she's terrible or she's disgusting. And then she hears them and they play like, Victor pointed this out in the one of the chats or somewhere. He was like, oh, I love that they put the sitcom sound effect for like, aw, which they did. I'm like, oh my God, he's right. They did dub that in, which made it funnier. But then like there was no redemption arc. She was just like still like trying to be accepted, but then went back to being like kind of a jerk. And then Finn Wolf was all nestled up against her. It was very funny and good for Veronica. I think she's a very talented performer, and I'm really glad we got to see such a Veronica-centric sketch.
Yeah, she definitely captured the girl trying too hard to be a bro kind of deal, and just shows the kind of fun stuff we can start to expect from Veronica. I will have to say that Veronica and Finn made a very cute couple, doing the thing with the beer after the breakup story and trying to get along with the guys. Definitely captured that spirit. It's hard to really put a lot of words to this just because her performance was so energetic and completely what you wanted from that kind of character, just tried way too hard. Did really love this, and for Victoria to get a good sketch of a good showcase of her range of things that she can do. For everything from boy girl to floor girl, whichever way, she's great.
Nicely put. She does. Wow. Did she make a quick costume change too? I would love to see the behind the scenes when they have to make those quick costume changes. I love when they show that. And we talk about Donna on here all the time, and I'm hoping that she'll hear that we're talking about her all the time and she'll want to even just send us an email so we can quote her, because she's amazing, and she's the one who gets all these cast members and all these. Well, I know she's mostly the host. She gets the host dressed, but she helps the cast too as well. There's so much quick changing going on. It's really quite amazing. On that note, Veronica, absolutely the talk of this sketch. She's so talented. Liked her since day one. Canadians. There's been so many talented ones on SNL, and she's just another one. To do your country proud, Deej. She's such a talented young lady, and to bring all of her sketch background, which I didn't know she had a lot of live sketch background, just as much as Ashley. It's just in Canada, so we didn't know.
And we do not rely on the United States to survive. Let's just get that out of the way.
Oh, definitely not. Canada, definitely as huge in the comedy scene. I mean, look at the comedy legends. I could go on. We could do a whole episode about comedy legends.
Ooh, definitely.
This was a great showcase for Veronica, but Finn, Marcelo, Jeremy, a lot of small roles tonight, but he was there. Jeremy's one to watch. And then Ben, not my favorite of the night, but certainly not. I didn't have a least favorite. I thought this was fun. And I think Demi's right. I think this is a common thing. These girls trying so hard to fit in. They're either trying too hard to be like the sexy ingenue, or they're trying too hard to be one of the guys. I don't know, we women, we just try really hard. Yeah, definitely just wanting the attention. And I think Veronica nailed it. And I believe we're going on to our last sketch of the night, which is a pre-tape that I snoozed out. I know Deej was sick, so she snoozed and missed a bit of that, a lot of the episode.
At the end, I caught. The first half hour I missed of the show originally.
And I'm the opposite. I snoozed out and totally missed this. I only got the end, and I was like, okay, I need to watch this again. So this is Free Solo, which is another piece, several of these tonight, inspired by an actual something that's going to happen.
Oh my God. Okay. This was, first of all, I did not know this was a real show. There was a guy very confidently talking about he's going to scale a skyscraper with no equipment, which I was like, what a delightful send up of reality shows. And then on SNL, John Schneider's like, oh, that's a real show. I'm like, what? I kind of didn't know what to do with that. So the thing is, like, Mikey Day is talking about his years of training preparation to scale this 100-story skyscraper. No equipment. Is just mentally has to get ready. I can't believe that's a real show. And then Kenan Thompson pops in as like, I don't know where they found this guy, but he's like, oh yeah, I'll just do it, maybe tomorrow or not. I don't know. He's given no thought. He's like, yeah, it's cool. I can do it. And then goes, oh yeah, no, I have a broken foot, but it's fine. Like, he has a foot in a cast. And they kept zooming. They kept going between Mikey Day, laying out how seriously he's taking it, how sacred it is, and how much everything has to be aligned, and how much preparation he's doing mentally for it. And then cut to Kenan, put his foot up in a boot on the things. Like, yeah, it'll be fine, do it Tuesday, whatever. I forget what the lines are, but it was very clear he put zero thought into it. And that contrast for me was delightful, as always. When Kenan's just like, meh, I'll get around to it. And then I use the classic SNL, and they have like Kenan Thompson like trying to walk up a sky, not CGI, but it's like photoshopped, and Kenan Thompson's like walking up the side of the skyscraper with his foot in a cast. I think he got like stuck halfway up. The whole thing's ridiculous. He needs to get help. But it was a very nice little cap. I did really like. I enjoyed very much Mikey Day's very studied dialogue and his very serious, dead serious approach to it. It contrasted with Kenan's complete insouciance, complete irreverence. Very nice little end cap to the episode for me.
I did like Finn's reactions to all the stuff that Kenan's character was saying. That was very much the highlight for me. And it definitely had the two drastic. You have the actual guy taking everything seriously, and the other one saying, oh, I think I could do this too. And just to add some context to it, so this is a 101-story tower in Taipei. And to do this without any kind of safety equipment. And it's not like it's raw, like a cliff face where there's things you can grab onto. It's basically a very sleek windowed building. Finn's reaction to everything that Kenan was saying was the thing that really made the sketch for me.
I thought Mikey just, our veterans here, right? Mikey and Keenan doing what they do best, being the opposite sides of the same coin. I can't believe that this is real either, Demi. I think people are a little wacky, but hey, if he wants to climb buildings without equipment, more power to him. I like Sarah's wife, who's just sort of done with this, but yet she's still supporting him. And then Finn is the the best friend or whatever of Keenan's character, who can't believe he's doing it. And then Keenan's like, oh yeah, tell that girl I might not be at our date or whatever. The ridiculousness of it all. So this was a nice capper. I think this was a good night. I guess we're going to do our ratings. I'm going to let Deej do that tonight. I'm going to let her pick the rating system this evening.
Well, we do this on a scale of delights. I would say a 6.5 delights out of 10. Not the best episode ever, but I think Finn did a fabulous job. I hope he comes back to host again. I think he really put himself into it, really natural at what he was doing of interplaying with the cast, so we know that he can do comedy, not just running away from monsters. If there's things in the SNL episode that I go back to watch, that's always the base standard for me.
I'm going to go ahead and give it 8.5 delights, because the highs in this episode, the heated wizardry. Oh my God, what was the other one that was like crazy? Like the Stranger Things spinoff. Those were so good. That was so funny that it's enough to bring up the rest of the episode, along with the A$AP Rocky performances and then the novelty of Finn Wolfhard. I mean, for me, really hit a lot of buttons for me. So on the whole, I give it 8.5 delights.
And I think I'm going to fall right in the middle of my two fabulous podcasting besties. I am going to give it a 7 because the pre-tapes tonight were just amazing. And I thought the live sketches were pretty fun. I think Finn was terrific. He exceeded, I thought he'd be good, but he exceeded my expectations. He's obviously a fan of the show. He's a fanboy. He's been watching it. I'm happy to see there are young people who love the show. Like I love the show, like you two love the show. So yeah, this was a 7 delights for me. Lots of fun and lots of things that I would probably rewatch. I haven't yet, but I probably will.
Even though those parts of this week, for me, were pretty bleak with the coughing, I still watched SNL and went to find the funny.
Funny as hope.
Saturday Night Ladies is a presentation of Wacky Notion Productions. Hosted by Deej Behrens, Shari Fesco, and Demi Constantine. Recorded and edited by Deej Behrens. Off-week show research by Shari Fesco. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, just email SaturdayNightLadies1978@gmail.com. And as always, like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for listening.